What happens when the carefully built image of a perfect family shatters before millions of eyes? What if the very person once held up as a symbol of purity and faith is now spending years behind bars, and his path to freedom just got longer? Today, we're diving into a story that shocked America again. Once the smiling face of a primetime reality TV empire, he's now the center of a federal prison saga that's darker and more complex than anyone imagined. And just when his release seemed on the horizon, another twist has pushed it further away. Why is his prison term being quietly extended for the second time? What's really going on behind those prison walls? Stay with us as we uncover the deeper truth behind this delayed release, the unraveling of a once beloved public figure, and the silent weight of consequences that no camera ever captured. The prison release date for a former reality television personality, once known to millions for his presence in the long-running show centered on a supersized family, has been delayed for the second time, intensifying ongoing discussions around justice, privilege, and accountability. The individual, whose notoriety has long since overshadowed his once squeaky clean family image, now finds his prison sentence extended beyond the initial projections, and not without reason or consequence. According to the most current information from the Federal Bureau of Prisons, the release date of this former television figure has been shifted from an earlier anticipated window to a later one, now scheduled for October 2032. Previously, the release date had already been revised once, from August 2032 to October of that year, and now, this latest adjustment further extends his time behind bars. While the delay may appear minor on paper, the implications are significant for both the individual and the broader public following the case. This is not just another scheduling change. It is a reflection of the gravity of the crime, the administrative discipline within the penal system, and the heightened scrutiny such high-profile inmates receive. In this case, the individual in question, formerly a staple on primetime family television, was sentenced to over 12 years in federal prison following his conviction on serious criminal charges involving the possession of illicit digital material. These materials, as determined by the court, were of such disturbing nature that the presiding judge described the evidence as the sickest he had seen in decades of legal experience. That statement alone sent shockwaves through both the courtroom and the public consciousness. His trial, which ended in a conviction and a 151-month sentence, attracted nationwide media attention not just because of the nature of the crimes, but also due to the stark contrast with the image his family cultivated for over a decade. On television, the family was portrayed as devout, morally upright, and committed to traditional values. Off camera, a darker truth had been simmering, a truth that eventually surfaced with damning clarity. The fact that this is the second time his expected release date has been moved only fuels speculation about his behavior behind bars and compliance with prison regulations. Though officials did not explicitly outline the reason behind the latest adjustment, prison policy allows for sentence modifications under several circumstances, including misconduct, revocation of earned good time, or changes to program participation. In high-profile cases like this, any administrative change tends to be closely monitored by both supporters and critics alike. It is worth noting that the federal system does not offer parole in the traditional sense. Inmates are expected to serve at least 85% of their sentence, factoring in good behavior and participation in correctional programming. Therefore, a shift in release date, however marginal, can often be attributed to a recalibration of earned credits, signaling that something behind the scenes has disrupted what was once a predictable timeline. Observers familiar with Bureau of Prisons procedures have indicated that even small disciplinary infractions can alter projected release dates. These can range from the use of contraband technology to refusing to participate in assigned educational or rehabilitation programs. Given this context, the delay raises valid questions about whether the individual in question has been fully compliant or if the extended date reflects broader institutional reassessment. This development also reignites a broader cultural discussion about the accountability of public figures who once enjoyed immense social capital. The contrast between his former image as a smiling, clean-cut representative of conservative family values and his current status as a federal inmate convicted of crimes involving digital exploitation is jarring. It forces a reevaluation of how much the public is willing to trust curated media images and underscores the importance of transparency and accountability, especially in families or individuals who position themselves as moral beacons. Public reaction to this latest delay has been mixed. Some see it as a necessary consequence of the crime and an affirmation of justice in action, albeit slowly. Others question the transparency of the prison system and seek further clarity regarding why the timeline keeps shifting. For many, it is a painful reminder of the betrayal they felt when the original charges were made public, a stark rupture from the values and principles they believed the family stood for. Legal analysts point out that while the individual is unlikely to face any additional charges related to the current prison sentence, ongoing consequences will follow him long after release. Once out, he will be placed on a 20-year supervised release program with strict guidelines about internet access, communication, and proximity to minors. He will also remain a registered sex offender, a designation that will shape every aspect of his post-prison life, from employment opportunities to housing and community integration. Meanwhile, the rest of his family has made varying degrees of public response. Some have chosen silence, avoiding the spotlight altogether, while others have used platforms to distance themselves from the crimes and express solidarity with victims of abuse. This internal split within the family, once presented as harmonious and unified, reflects a much deeper division, one that is not easily healed by time or distance. The story of this individual's downfall is not merely about a man who committed crimes. It is about the dismantling of a myth that many Americans once accepted as truth. It is about the way communities handle betrayal, the challenge of restoring faith in justice, and the reality that even those who grow up under the microscope of national fame can fall hard, and deservedly so. With the release now officially pushed to October 2032, the road ahead remains long. Inside prison, the individual continues to serve a sentence not only imposed by the court, but reinforced by the weight of public disappointment. Outside, society continues to grapple with the layers of deception, the consequences of unchecked power, and the real lives impacted by the crimes committed. As more details emerge, observers will undoubtedly scrutinize every change in his status, every shift in prison policy, and every family statement, hoping to make sense of a story that once began with innocence and ended in scandal. The latest development, small as it may seem on the surface, is part of a larger, complex narrative that still resonates deeply in households across the country. This delay is more than a clerical footnote. It is a marker of continued reckoning, both for the person at the center of the controversy and for a society still learning to balance justice with memory, accountability with compassion, and spectacle with substance. Thanks for watching.